From LALATE News Headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings LALATE. Incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. Your CR for Stimulus 1, 2, 3, and 4.0, Build Back Better Act, and SS 300. We'll be starting with the breaking news out of Ukraine and Russia, as the capital city of Kyiv has sustained resistance from the Russian troops and still remains in Ukrainian hands. The latest breaking details as Russia fails to take Ukraine overnight and may never take it at all. The brand new details breaking on Mornings. But we'll be turning back to the Build Back Better Act that has thousands of dollars of checks in there, and those incredible checks will be going to you, including those adult automatic IRS stimulus checks. I have the latest details on that and the breaking news about CR for Stimulus 1, 2, and 3, and 4.0. 1.0 getting brand new details overnight. It's all great news as it has an inherent deadline just a few days away, and there's a lot of money in there to get you a stimulus check. We'll be looking at 2 and 3.0 and how it's impacting your wallet positively. And then, of course, we'll be looking back at the incredible great news about SS 300. If you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, or railroad benefits, you could be getting an additional $300 more per month. I'll explain the latest details on SS 300 coming up later in this video. And then with the toast is toast and butter of butter and coffee brewing, guess what also is happening is that your advocacy is working. Because guess what? There is the incredible great news of third stimulus still paying out viewers. Viewers have gotten thousands of dollars overnight, and I have their incredible success stories in today's recording. We have a huge economic week ahead of us with economic data that came in less than 24 hours ago, indicates how you could be feeling different pinches at the pump, and how the Federal Reserve is about to make its major announcement within just a few hours. I have the latest details on that. It's good news, it's great news, as the push is underway to get you all these incredible checks. And the breaking details from Ukraine to Los Angeles starts right here as Mornings LALATE gets underway. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day. You're looking at stock footage, not live footage, but stock footage of the beautiful town of Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine, that Vladimir Putin thought he was going to be able to take by today. He has failed, with nearly 3,000 Russian troops dead, and the capital still standing in the hands of the Ukrainian citizens and its President Zelensky. The Russian forces have not done well and may ultimately not even take the Ukrainian capital. On the latest details as Vladimir Putin now focuses his attention to threaten two neighboring countries overnight. Which countries are now in the crossfires of threats from Vladimir Putin? The breaking news coming up later in this video. But we're going to start first, of course, with your money. And that is the Build Back Better Act that is getting passed, and it has lots of checks in there. We'll be looking at that, but the first item that's coming before that is just a few days away from now. It's CR for Stimulus 1.0, and it has a lot of money in there ready to rock and roll. I have the latest on that, 2.0, 3.0, and then SS 300 that could be done by the President of the United States in less than 30 days. And then the breaking news about what the federal president has done to alleviate your financial pressure at the pump. It's brand new, and it's breaking on Mornings. We got a lot coming up in today's recording that's brand new, and we have a huge financial week ahead of us with so many developing details. I want you part of this family, so go into the video and subscribe. You're watching LALATE, the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America among broadcasts, cable, and internet. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member to get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday. We're going to start with the Build Back Better Act and its incredible checks that are in there. And those checks amount to at least $15,000 to $60,000 of checks. 3 add-ons, 3 clusters. Let's look at all of them starting right now. They're staying in there, and they're getting done. They amount to at least $15,000, but upwards of $60,000. You ready? Let's go over them. Cluster number one, hazard pay. Got in there. One more year of the earned income tax credit for my essential workers. Learn about it at irs.gov, the earned income tax credit. $4,000 of elder care. Got it in there. The $3,600 CTC checks for the young children, got that in there as well. And that incredible money from third stimulus extended under fourth stimulus. They got the $550 check for the Pell Grants in there for college students and $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle. Wow. We're just getting started because, folks, there is a lot of incredible, great money in this recon. We're talking about the Build Back Better Act. But the first add-on of three is the one that makes so many viewers so excited. And yeah, it comes from Southern California. Here in Southern California, Maxine Waters, the legislator here, got it in there, and is money for the purchase of your first home. You heard me right. At the time of closing for escrow, the federal government will give money to the seller in your name, a little bit less than $25,000. It's huge. She got it in there. That is the first of three clusters and three add-ons. That's the first add-on, but now let's turn to the second cluster of checks. And that second cluster of checks has home repairs and paid leave. Home repairs is a sustained natural disaster, which is like every time they have a lobster fest in the front yard at the McConnell residence next door. And paid leave is every time you show up to the senator's office and they're all wearing lobster shorts. Oh, my eyes. I have to take off from work now. How much you get for paid leave? You get a lot. It is $1,700 a week. $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 or more per year. $800 a week if you make $35,000. $15,000 annual salary, that's $400 a week. W-2, 1099, you all get this incredible sums of money. $46,000 a year. If you don't work, but your son or daughter does work, they're part of the household, they're going to get the check if they have to take off from work to take you to the doctor's office. And there you go. That is paid leave. That is the second of three clusters of checks. Now let's go to that second add-on. Can you imagine if you're a senior and a person on disabilities, there's no home health care covered in many cases? Well, it's no longer going to be the case because they got it in there. A little bit less than $250 billion. This is a campaign promise from Joe Biden. Got it in there. Bob Casey inserted the provision. Free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. Thank goodness you need it. Let's turn to that third cluster. Deliciousness. That's with an H. Deliciousness. Seniors and free internet. Now, if you want free internet right now, you don't have to wait for stimulus because there is available free internet across the land. Reach out to the volunteers on the community page. But they also got in there checks for farmers, checks for independent contractors, checks for free school meals for all, and then the senators and the House members taking care of seniors on the House side. The Medicaid gap fix, more about that second, and the hearing checks got in there. But the senators vow to add three other checks, which are dental, vision, and lowering the eligibility age of Medicare from 65 to 55. Now, what's that third add-on of checks? I think you know what it is. Jump in the live chat and write those three letters right now. I bet you know what those three letters are. Yeah, someone just wrote it. MSC. This is the third of three add-ons of checks. And what is it? How much do you get? What's at issue? The Build Back Better Act has $15,000, $40,000, $60,000 of checks in there. But these are additional checks that stand for monthly IRS stimulus checks. They're automatic. They're for adults. The children get the CTC checks, and they come from IRS on a monthly basis. The legislators, senators represent, they're inserting these checks in there. And how much are they? Let's go over the incredible details. The eligibility would be the same as a third stimulus check the legislators represent. Single individuals, $75,000 less, you get that check if that's your annual income. Married couple, $150,000 less, double it. Family of four, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, rail benefits, you'd also get it. Adult dependents would also get it. It's not income. It's not taxable. It goes off the most recent tax return. So if that had direct deposit, that's how you get paid. It's not California stimulus. California stimulus, we get electric surfboards instead. To the one viewer who said, my fiance says you have to pay it back. No, but there's time to return the engagement ring. Move quickly. There you go. How much is it? $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter for up to 6 months. Deliciousness. Now, the question is, how do they get it in there? And why does that tee us up for the next part of this recording, which is CR for stimulus? The way they add this in there is on the Senate side during Senate subcommittee. send it to a Senate subcommittee, have a bill, then have a bill vote on the floor, then a 2-day vote-a-rama, we're done. But it's been 11 months, so it hasn't been done. So 5 weeks ago, I came on air. I said, we need another solution. Do you want to bring it back? And viewers said, are you bringing that back? I said, yeah. They said, yes, let's do it. And what is it? CR for stimulus. If you're in the live chat, write the hashtag campaign right now. The concept is very simple. We support Build Back Better Act. We support Forced Stimulus Recon, which I just went over. But this is using an additional piece of legislation before it that's bipartisan, that's a small bill that you can insert a check in there and get it out very quickly. Since bringing it back on channel 5 weeks ago, we have now birthed CR for Stimulus 1, 2, 3, and 4.0. And there's big news about each of them on today's mornings. Now let's go over what CR for Stimulus was in 2020 and what it is today. CR for Stimulus was my creation in 2020 when millions of Americans had waited for a second stimulus to pay them something, and it wasn't. It was a proposed body of legislation, thousands of pages in length, too large, partisan, 11 months of negotiations, not working. So I delivered the recording on air in December 2020. I said, we need something quicker, slimmer, faster, and I have an idea. I call it CR for Stimulus. And immediately, viewers love the idea. The concept was the following. Insert a stimulus check in December 2020 into a continuing resolution bill. What's a continuing resolution? It's to fund the federal government. It goes by bipartisan support. It's quick, has an inherent deadline, just a few days out, a few weeks, maybe a month. And it gets done. Not 11 months of negotiations. So viewers love the idea. We got a huge amount of criticism as soon as we delivered it because they said it doesn't belong in there. Checks don't, for the American people, don't belong in a continuing resolution. I said, I don't care. We pushed, and I made history. The $600 stimulus check Americans got because of my creation and because of the viewership of this channel, the Purple Power community, made history as well. They got that check in there, and millions of Americans got a $600 check in the December 2020 continuing resolution. What also happened? Second stimulus fell apart. Never got a bill, never got a vote, never got a payment to anyone. Thank goodness for CR for Stimulus. So 5 Saturdays ago, I went on air. I said, do you want to bring CR for Stimulus back? We did. And now we have 1, 2, 3, and 4.0, 4 versions of it. The great news about 1.0 right today is huge. Thursday and Friday were very sort of tense moments where we wondered if someone was going to try to take away some of our money from our CR for Stimulus from us. It didn't happen. Thank goodness for Senator Yates. Let's go over what CR for Stimulus 1.0 is. It is the latest continuing resolution. Early March deadline, just a few days away from now. And the great news is that it's bipartisan. It's just a few hundred pages in length. And it has a dedicated $1.5 trillion of discretionary funds that are at the discretion of the U.S. cabinet members under Joseph Biden to be spent however they want to spend them on you. It's huge. We had a very tense moment on Thursday and Friday where we thought 2 groups were trying to take the money. I have the latest update on that after the commercial break. Then we'll be looking at CR for Stimulus 4.0, which got also sort of strange on Thursday. This is the Ukrainian support legislation and the Russian sanctions legislation. There was concern whether it was going to morph into 1.0. The good news for us is coming up after the commercial break. The bad news for the citizens of Ukraine also covered in that second half. Then we'll be looking at CR for Stimulus 2 and 3.0 merging in the Senate. Good news. Why so much bipartisan support? All the latest details. And then we'll be looking at SS 300. This is the opportunity for the president with just a simple phone call to raise your benefits up $200 a month starting 30 days from now. We have brand new financial data that came in overnight. And folks, boy, this inflation is getting worse by the moment. I'm going to show you how you can do it and how this is going to be a big payday for you. It's SS 200 now, then SS 300 by the end of the year. I have the latest details on that coming up after the commercial break. Then, big success story as more Purple Hawks have swirled and gotten more sums of money. Have you gotten thousands of dollars from this channel this week? If you haven't, stay with me because I'm going to show you 2 new success stories overnight in addition to the other ones this week. It's third stimulus, and you can get those sums of money. Purple Hawks, get ready to pounce. It's coming up after the commercial break. Plus, we'll have the big financial data that's coming up next week, and boy, is it going to be a huge week of financial news, even in despite of all the events of Ukraine and Russia. And then I'll be looking at the 3 new things that the President of the United States has done to alleviate your pinch at the pump for gasoline in face of what's happening in Ukraine and Russia. Also have the latest details of what's happening on the ground in the capital city of Ukraine minutes ago. All those details coming up after the commercial break. I'll see you back in 60 seconds. You're watching Mornings LALATE, direct from Santa Monica, California. But first, here's a little bit about the community page. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now in the second half of Mornings LALATE, live and direct from Santa Monica, California. We'll be going into the second half with the latest great news about your CR for stimulus 1, 2, 3, and 4.0. But the latest details from the ground in Ukraine and the capital of Kyiv is that Vladimir Putin thought he could take the capital by Saturday morning. Did not happen. President Zelensky just addressed the people from the streets of Kyiv, where there have been missiles hitting skyrises. People are bunkering down in subway stations, and there is massive destruction in residential areas where civilians live outside of town. But Russian troops have not been able to get into the capital city. They were reportedly being held about 18 miles outside of the capital. You're looking at stock footage, not current footage, of the beautiful town of Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine. Russian troops may not be able to actually take the capital, and Vladimir Putin may ultimately fail. He has lost 3,000 Russian troops, many tankers, and the country of Poland dedicated more resources to Zelensky overnight for the fight by the Ukrainians. More about that and that fight coming up after the commercial break. But also brand new overnight is that Vladimir Putin is now threatening the countries of Finland and Sweden, saying that they join the international NATO organization. He's next coming for them. All the latest details on that coming up after the commercial break. We have coming up in just a second. But first, I want you to subscribe. You're watching the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America, LALATE. Hit that subscribe button. We have a lot of financial news coming up later today. Heading to number 2 in America among broadcast, cable, and internet. Like the video and consider becoming a member, the link to which is under the video's description. Let's pick up from where we left off at the CR for Stimulus 1.0. The great news on this one, which of course, let's recap which one is CR for Stimulus 1.0. It's the budget bill to fund the federal government. That one has still holding its inherent deadline, early March. Good news there. The $1.5 trillion of discretionary funds still in there. Good. $1.5 trillion is more than enough for a stimulus check for millions of Americans. You all get it. Number 3, that this would not replace Build Back Better that has checks for everyone, including the SSI, which I've already covered earlier in this video. But also would get a check out to you sooner if they use the discretionary funds the way it is. The great news about CR for Stimulus 1.0 today is that we had a very tense moment on Thursday and Friday where two groups, the White House and the Restaurant Union, were trying to grab some of this money for itself. The White House was trying to grab some of the $1.5 trillion for COVID testing, and the Restaurant Union is trying to grab it for the restaurants. Well, Patrick Leahy, head of appropriations of the Senate, said, nope, not going to happen. This is $1.5 trillion of discretionary funds to be spent at the discretion of the cabinet. We've negotiated this among Democrats and Republicans for weeks in the House and Senate. We're not moving on this money. Good news. Now, so what you have done so far, you need to continue to do it, and you know what it is. Advocate to those senators. The advocacy should look something along the lines of this. Leahy's not on the loop, but include him in your calls. You should basically use very simple words. There's $1.5 trillion of discretionary funds in the continuing resolution that is teed up for a vote in March 2022. Don't remove the funds. Don't spend the money on things that don't need the money spent on. Send us a stimulus check. $1.5 trillion is more than enough for a $2,000 stimulus check to millions of Americans. We've had your back doing Build Back Better Act for 11 months of negotiations. It's not done. We believe it will get done. But you've promised us checks, and we've been patient, and we deserve a check now because we're hurting because of inflation. Include a check in there like you did with the CR for Stimulus of 2020, and did that to ensure you kept your position in the Senate. You inserted a $200,000 a stimulus check into that CR in 2020 to win the 2 Georgia Senate seats. Well, to retain your Senate seats and pick up seats, ensure that you take care of us by spending some of that $1.5 trillion of discretionary funds on us. And that's the latest details on CR for Stimulus 1.0. Now, 4.0 is getting very interesting. Very good for us, very bad for Ukraine. 4.0 is the Russian sanctions bill to sanction Russia and also provide funding to Ukraine. The good news first and then the bad news second. The good news is that it's not going to be merged with CR for Stimulus 1.0. Leahy makes it very clear. CR for Stimulus is its own idea. We don't want to merge with anything else. That's good for us. The bad news is the citizens of Ukraine. President Zelensky overnight said that the United States says we have an envoy ready to escort you out of the countries to a safe haven. He says, I don't need an escort. I need ammunition. U.S. is giving me nothing to fight against Russia. And this is purely the debacle of House, Senate, Republicans, and Democrats failing to provide anything to the people on the ground in Ukraine to fight the Russian invasion. And this is a debacle that will never be forgotten. U.S. has not come through with providing resources to the people on the ground. Now let's turn back to CR for Stimulus 2 and 3.0. This is the economic pieces of legislation started by Pete Aguilar in the House. House Democrats say that, Build Back Better Act will get done, but it's taking too long, so we need other economic pieces of legislation. Passed in the House, sent to the Senate, where those Senate Republicans, yeah, you're hearing me right, Senate Republicans led by Todd Young say, we need economic pieces of legislation to go out as well, so we're going to merge the two together. Why so much bipartisan support? Because suddenly Republicans and Democrats understand the midterm elections will be based upon one thing: the political party's ability to deliver to you now, not after the election, now, relief in face of the economic pressures of inflation at hand. And with that, let's go right into SS 300 and SS 200 and SS 400, the creation of this channel and the promises of Joe Biden and how to get you that money right off the board, starting right now. First, I'm going to go over what it is. Then I'm going to go over the brand new economic news that came in overnight. It's big, and it tees up what's happening this coming week. And then I'll go over how it gets done. All right, what is this? This is SS 200 is the opportunity to give you additional $200 a month, 30 days out from now, on top of your existing check if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, Veterans benefits, SSA, or multiple beneficiaries. SS $300 is to give you an additional $100 on top of that this coming December. That would be SS 300. And the year after that, about another $40, about SS 400. How does this get achieved? Very simply, replacing COLA, COLA, your cost of living adjustment, with inflation. What does it take? Simply a phone call. Now, let me go over where we are on this with the breaking news, and then I'll go over the calculations of it right now. First, let me go back to where it came from, SS 200, so you understand what we're referring to. SS 200 was birthed by Elizabeth Warren in spring of 2020. She was running for president of the United States, and in her run for president of the United States, she promised to reform the Social Security Administration by removing the marriage penalty, the asset cap, and the income cap by Act of Congress, but also by giving additional $200 for 6 to 12 months, just 6 to 12 months. Joe Biden then watched Liz Warren withdraw from her run for president. He said, I like our policies, so I'm going to adopt them. He did. In his run for president, he won the general election. Then he put it in his campaign, he put it in his transition papers from president-elect to president at joebiden.com. You can still read them. And in December 2020, he wrote that millions of Americans on benefits need $200 a month because of the pinch of how hard it is to struggle to live. Folks, December 2020, there was no inflation. Now you have inflation, so you need it more than ever. So what happened? He came into office, and then suddenly the Democrats noticed he wasn't taking care of it. So they teed up this stimulus, covered on this channel for nearly 11 months. They didn't get it done. And so 4 weeks ago, I delivered on air the message of SS 200, the opportunity of what Joe Biden can do to raise your benefits up right now, more money. Then SS 300 this last week. The brand new breaking details coming in overnight suggest he needs to do it right away. Let's go over all the incredible details starting right now. Where is inflation? That is the big question mark. And if there's someone that's gotten it right, it has been me. The concept of SS 300 is to replace COLA with inflation. COLA historically doesn't move, so it doesn't go up year after year, but inflation does go up. Last year, when I was covering this, I said that inflation would be 8% in December of last year, 2021, and not temporary, or the fancy word for temporary, transitory. The Federal Reserve at the time, led by Jay Powell, you're looking at him here, said it was going to be 1 to 2% temporary. I said, I don't buy it. It's going to be 8% in a few months. Wall Street said 2 to 3% temporary. I said, I don't buy it. I said 8%. Well, what happened? The labor numbers take 30 days to come in the month after. They came in January for December, 7.5%. Got it. Right on the money. At the time, I said to you, I don't believe it's temporary. I think it's going to stay around that level. I trained you as the viewer how to find inflation before I even report it. Supermarket, pack of eggs, same brand every week, same market, same quantity. Watch the price. Is it going up 10 cents? You see the inflation before I even report it. That's how it happens. So we have inflation numbers and we have inflation gauge, which are numbers before we get the new inflation number. The new inflation number for January is just a few days away. Friday, here we go, folks. Ready to breathe deeply? It's bad. The inflationary gauge number that came in Friday was 5.2%, the highest annual gain since 1983. This is the number that the Federal Reserve uses for its interest rate spikes at its meetings, which start in just a few days this coming week. And the number was really high, exactly where we expect it to be high. Food and energy prices up 6.1%, the highest increase year to date since 1982. So this is why the President of the United States needs to do SS 300 right today. All he has to do is the following. Pick up the phone, call the Social Security Administrator, say, replace COLA with inflation. And millions of Americans, you watching in the live chat, I saw people from SSI asking questions in the live chat. Your benefits would go up $200 a month instantly right now because your benefits would be tied to inflation, which is staying at 7.5. And this month of January will likely be the same number or about a little bit higher. Then in December of this year, it's likely to be about 4% inflation. So that would bring you another $100 on top of where you are right now. And the year after that, maybe another $40. So that SS 400. This is very important because guess what's also around the corner? This coming week, the first of 5 meetings of the Federal Reserve of 2022 to determine whether there'll be interest rate spikes. 8 months ago, many analysts thought one interest rate spike this entire year. Now they think 5 spikes in 5 meetings. There's some concerns there'll be 7 spikes in 5 meetings. And the biggest concern was that they thought that the first meeting this week may be not just a quarter basis point spike for interest rates, which impacts your wallet, but a half basis point. Now, because of the tense situation in Ukraine and Russia, which is going on longer than even Vladimir Putin anticipated, this may signal that the Federal Reserve may want to give themselves more wiggle room and not do a half basis point this week. That is why I told you this coming week is huge, not just for the situation in Ukraine and Russia, but because of what's going on with that subject matter. Now, Joe Biden has other opportunities to give you relief, and he explored them and he got them this week. And this involves the situation of your pinch at the pump. If you drive, it impacts you. If you don't drive, it impacts you because you got to buy milk and eggs, and someone has to drive that milk and egg in. And they have to buy gasoline to put in the truck. So the situation we're now turning to is really getting positive news as 3 major development details in the last 24 hours coming in from the White House. A new number I want to teach you on this channel so you remember this number because we're going to stay with it over the next few weeks. It's huge. It impacts you so importantly. It's the price of barrel for Brent crude. It's not a price that you're paying for. It's how much the wholesale is paying for it. Where is the number right now? The number right now is $100 a barrel. Now, the gasoline that's supplied to the United States traditionally would have included gasoline from Iran and Russia and some from Ukraine. Because of the Russian sanctions by the United States, the Ukrainian and Russian oil is out of our pipeline. And when you have less of something, prices often go up. So the President of the United States understands the situation and has addressed it fourfold in the last 24 hours. Number one, the first thing he did was he released some reserves from the strategic reserves. This is petroleum gasoline in stockage in the United States to bring the price down from $100 to potentially $93 a barrel. Number one. Number two, great statement. He said, I know we've taken Ukraine and Russia out of the equation. We don't have their we don't have their gasoline. We don't have Iran's gasoline either at the moment. I don't want any U.S. manufacturers of gasoline to stick it to our fellow Americans. I will criminally prosecute you if you price gouge. Great news on that one. That is huge. And number three, really exciting, is that the federal government is trying to finalize negotiations with the country of Iran on a nuclear treaty. If that nuclear treaty is solidified, which they believe will be done, then millions of barrels of gasoline from Iran that has not been in our system for a long time will be now available, and the price will come down. So what are we looking at for numbers? And why am I staying on this number, and why is this important? The number is critical to the U.S. economy. Based upon the events in Ukraine and Russia, price right now is $100 a barrel. What can we sustain? What can we not sustain? Analysts believe that if inflation does not get worse, which I don't believe it's going to go higher, we can sustain the current level for 6 more months, and that's it. Then, if the situation in Russia and Ukraine gets worse, which it may, we will head to $125 to $135 a barrel. We cannot sustain this as U.S. economy. We will go into recession. We will have high unemployment, and we will have negative growth of our industries. So this is a very serious situation. And the Federal Reserve can't do this. This is only the U.S. government. The Federal Reserve can only do interest rate spikes. Federal Reserve can't fix gasoline. So this is why it's a very big topic in this channel, because I can do everything for you, but I can't fix your gasoline. Only the president can, and do it with these type of elements. And that's why the situation in Russia and Ukraine is so tense. Again, Vladimir Putin thought he was going to be able to take Ukraine by Saturday morning. He may never even succeed at the moment. He is 18 miles outside of town at the time of this recording on a Saturday morning, 9:45 a.m., and may eventually topple the capital in the coming days, but may actually not succeed altogether. It's been very, very hard to estimate the situation on the ground. 3,000 Russian troops have periled, and massive ammunition is being delivered to the Ukrainian military by neighboring Poland. So Poland has been very, very helpful across the board. That is where we are right now. Now, let's turn to some great news and some money for you across the board. And this is third stimulus. I love my viewers because my job is to get you money day in, day out. I want you to cash checks on this channel. And I have viewers overnight who did exactly that. It's third stimulus. And viewers have listened, learned, and gotten this money. It's money you can get today. It's money you can get before the CR for stimulus, which is just a few days away from now. It's money before the Build Back Better Act, which comes after that. It's money available today. And I'm so excited for these viewers. What is third stimulus? Well, back in 2020, we had second stimulus sort of ending, and millions of Americans that were watching this channel needed money. So I show viewers how to get rent, utilities, mortgages, more. And I said, when third stimulus becomes law, I have a preview of it. We're going to have it again. It looks like it may be a lot of money, but I can't tell how much yet. I want to teach you how to get it. I train the viewers of this channel how to get it. If you're a new viewer, welcome. I'm training you today. And viewers, when it became law in spring of 2020, averaged out about $45,000. Then I helped them get another round last summer. Then another round last Christmas. We call that Christmas stimulus. The rounds generally are about 3 to 5 months of rent. 5 is on the high, 3 is on the low. Numbers usually $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 each round. Some of you may have got to November, December, January, and you may be ready for another round right now. And the utilities is generally, $3,000 to $5,000. So the success stories coming in overnight. And here we go. Brand new today. You're hearing for the first time on Mornings. Charles Garman says, hey, Ally, I got $1,000 today for energy assistance. Congratulations. Can you hear the crackle of those dollar bills? $1,000 he got overnight. Here's Karen. She sent me a beautiful message on Facebook just minutes ago. LA, I lost all my jobs. I did not know how I was going to pay my utilities. I did not know how I was going to pay my rent. But I contacted an organization in my area who helps with rent and utilities. I got 3 months of rent and 3 months of utilities. And she puts in 5 exclamation points after that. LA, you are so amazing. 3 exclamation points as well. Congratulations to Karen. Everyone said big congratulations to Karen. And I hope you get those jobs back as well. So that's great. She got 3 months of rent. So that's right what we're talking about, right in the money. Now, that's just today. Yesterday, we had Bob Bacon. And Bob scored 3 more months of rent as well. And that same day, yesterday, Brian Donahue, I think I'm pronouncing that right, got 5 more months of rent. Now, 5 is on the high end. So that is, average view of the channel sometimes is like $1,200 of rent. So that looks like it's a $6,000 payout. And he says this is second round. So there you go. He has now gotten 2 rounds from third stimulus. If you send me a private message on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, if I haven't featured your recent success story, and I'll feature it live on air, tell me what state you're from, and also tell me which round it is. I always forget to ask people, tell me which round it is. So Nisia, I know how many rounds she's had. I've been featuring on this channel since third stimulus passed, and she got $30,000+ as soon as it passed. So what did she get? I'll go over her success story in just a second. But let me show you now how to get this money as well. We've revamped the look of it. Get a pen and paper out, get that membership newsletter out, and follow along. Let's go over where you get this money today. You want to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage assistance because of utility assistance because of COVID. And there's 3 musts you must do. You must reach out to all 6 places. You must do multiple rounds. And open that membership newsletter today to learn more about other items like the nonprofits. You want to lean on those nonprofits because they often pick up the sums of money when you have problems perhaps at the county level. Average view of this channel, clean up. $45,000 average view of this channel is getting from this third stimulus till to this day. Move today. Get another round. If you haven't gotten a round, get it today. Become a member. But get another round today. Do it right now. And there you go. Incredible success stories. Let's go back into The other success stories that came in just a day before, which was Nisi. She had gotten $30,000, $40,000. Guess what she got? She got another $10,000. She got $7,000 for rent, so that looks like it's maybe 3 or 4 months of rent. And then she got $3,000 for utilities. So that looks like about 2 months of utilities. And then we have Karen. She got $40,000 this week. Wow. $23,000 of which is for rent. That is huge. She says, I feel so blessed. I feel blessed for you as well. When we look back into Build Back Better Act, the incredible checks of Build Back Better Act, everything that's in there is staying in there. So everything that's covered on this channel, whether it's Overnights LALATE, which are videos now from August and September of last year, are staying in there. Everything that's added in there is going in there as well. There is checks for seniors, like the Medicaid gap fix that will provide a workaround plan for millions of Americans who are in Republican holdout states that vowed to never provide low-income uninsured people. We look to reduce the age of Medicare from 65 to 55, dental, vision, and hearing. There's all these incredible checks in there for everything from college students to home repairs, covered also later today on Afternoons LALATE, brand new show at 3 o'clock, and Evenings LALATE at 5 o'clock. But what's important to note, as the toast is toasting, the coffee is brewing, the butter is buttering on the big, bold, beautiful Mornings LALATE, there's a lot of events going on. And let me give you my commentary to end this morning. First, what I want you to know is that when you look at broadcast news, there's broadcast financial news, which you're watching right now, and there's just general broadcast news. General broadcast news would cover the fire, the tornado, or the war and aggression overseas. And so if you don't hear them mentioning Build Back Better Act, don't think it's dead. It's just they can't cover every subject matter in a given recording. This is a financial news channel, and I'm staying on point with your money across the board. I'll intersperse Ukrainian and Russian developing details, and of course, these active threats against neighboring countries from Vladimir Putin towards other countries onboarding his lands overnight. But I'm staying with the financial news, and I want you to know that's where it is. Just because you don't see it on the front page doesn't mean it's not happening. Next, what's important for you to know is that the situation on the ground is very tense and very fluid. And my deliberate purpose is not to show you graphic images on this channel. If you want to follow LALATE on Twitter, I am retweeting on Twitter at LALATE the images officially released by the Ukrainian military. This morning, a major skyscraper, residential skyscraper, was hit by a missile, which Ukrainian forces identified as a Russian missile. I will not be showing that type of footage on this channel, but it's important that if you want to be up to date on any of those things, follow LALATE on social media, and I'll be showing you those images. Finally, it's important to suppress any type of disinformation. Certainly on social media, some of the Chinese-run state media news organizations were putting out horrible disinformation overnight. Awful, really just horrid. And with that, keep your prayers for the citizens of Ukraine in your hearts. I stand with Ukraine. Stop Putin, stop Russia, stop these acts of aggression. It's going to be a big week ahead of us, folks, so stay with me. I'm next back with you at noontime, and then at 3 o'clock, a brand new Afternoons LALATE, and a brand new 5 o'clock Evenings LALATE as well. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful day. Hope your day is well. Follow me on social media. Stay informed, stay focused. Get those big sums of money from Third Stimulus. And if you have another success story, send me on social media. I'll feature it live on air. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a beautiful day. And stay with LA for more.